Okay, Tran. So, when did you graduate from college, and what was your major?
Yes, I graduated from college about maybe a few weeks ago now, about 4 weeks ago now. My major was communications.
And what were your expectations after college?
Um, my expectations were to find a job fairly quickly, but that has not been happening. I've been looking and looking. I look every day, and you know, school was just supposed. I just felt like I was always told and taught that school is going to prepare you for the real world and getting a job. But most of the job listings I see in my field, a lot of times I don't even list the degree as something they want. It's just the experience, and I don't have that because I've been in school. So that's kind of disappointing and discouraging because I feel like I did all of this work at school. I've been there, didn't really take any breaks, just sort of trying to power through, all for me to sort of be in a rut when I get out.
And did your university give you any resources to prepare you for after graduation, or do you just feel like the resources given were not, practical enough for?
Um, I don't think the resources given were practical enough, honestly. And I know the year before I graduated, I was supposed to be doing an internship, but right when that was going on, that's when the pandemic happened. So that kind of all just fell apart. And then also finding an internship closer to when I'm graduating was just like, okay, I'm about to graduate. I really want to do an internship because it would sort of maybe help me out a lot more, but it was just harder to find one because of the pandemic. And I just sort of felt out of luck because I was going to be still in school during like the summer semester. A lot of the internships, I believe, in that area weren't really offered, but there were some back home, but I'm staying in the dorms. So it was just sort of between a rock and a hard place trying to find an internship that would hopefully better my chances of getting a job, which so I didn't end up getting any internship. So I just, I guess focused on school and doing the work and getting the degree and a certification. But it still hasn't really gotten me anywhere.
Have anyone in your graduating class had similar experiences?
Yes. Yeah. One of my friends, she found a job, but it's not necessarily in her field. It's nothing she wants to really do. But it's been hard for her because she's more in the medical field, and and I know that's really hard. And there's a few more people that are just having the same similar issue that I'm having. It's just really discouraging because we do go to school all these years, do the necessary things that we need to do, and then it's like they say bye and just sort of leave us out to dry.
Right. And I mean, I can't imagine being a student, in the pandemic. Like I was already stressed enough as a regular, college student, and dealing with the whole entire environment changing, wearing a mask, like the foreign, reports about this virus at the time. Like, how did that even affect your psyche as a student, and maybe even as a person, going through all this?
Oh, it was a whole lot on me. And I think, and I'm not, trying to take anybody else's experience away from them, but I feel like I might have had it a little rougher during the pandemic because my mom actually had COVID. And and it's actually going on a year ago when she had it. She had it last year around this time where she first contracted it. And, some people, they have COVID and it doesn't really affect them. It affected her really bad. She almost did not make it. And so I'm in school. I couldn't really come home because I was away at school, and they told me not to come home so because they didn't want me around the illness. And so I felt helpless because I know my mom is a person who always wants people around, and even so, my grandparents, since they stay in the area, they always rode by, but I felt guilty because I couldn't necessarily do that because I was like hours away at school. Um, thought about her every day, talked to her every day. And that and trying to juggle everything I got going on school wise was pretty, it was really difficult actually. Several mental breakdowns, several. But luckily she pulled through and she's fine now. But that was definitely a lot on me. And then, just everything in the environment of school changing anyway because of the pandemic. Um, but just having all of that on my shoulders and on my mind, it definitely took a toll on me. And it's just something, and it's even something that I still deal with because it's still sort of, I guess it's trauma still and all that stress. But we sort of, I guess, sort of moved out of that dark time. And, I'm thankful that we are, but it's still, I guess, impacted me in a way. And I don't, you can't forget something like that. But it was extremely hard.
And what resources have you tried to, I guess what I should ask is, after getting through that, like, what was your graduation experience? Did you have a graduation? Did you have a new plan after that?
No, actually. There was a graduation because I graduated summer 2021. There was a graduation in May for some of my friends who were graduating in May and in the spring. But there's usually no summer ceremony held anyway, so it really didn't make a difference. But there is a fall ceremony coming up as far as graduation, and I'll be participating in that because most summer graduates usually have to walk in the fall.
Gotcha. And during that time when you were dealing with your mother being sick, did your professors um, like give you any type of leeway? Did they try and accommodate you in any way? Um, like, how were you still able
Thankfully,
to? How are you?
thankfully, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thankfully, they did. I had some really caring professors and advisors. One of my advisor was one of my professors, and I explained the situation, and they did help me a lot. But it was only also so much they could give at the same time. But since the thing with my mother was sort of ongoing, I still had to sort of you know just power through everything and still get some stuff done. And sometimes that didn't always happen because I actually had to I ended up having to rush home a week because it had got really bad. But and thankfully, I guess she didn't have COVID at the time, but it was just, sort of the after effects of all of the stuff that sort of was weighing on her. So she had to be in the hospital again. And I had to stay home for a week to make sure she was okay and everything. Cause and I had to let all my professors know that. Um and that week they were really helpful to me that week. But I came back the next week and tried to catch up on everything. And they even still gave me some more leeway, but I couldn't just keep putting my schoolwork into my stuff off.
Right. And
Mhm.
after through, I would say, as you said, traumatic experience, what do you think you've learned about yourself, if anything, that you maybe didn't know before?
I think something I definitely learned about myself is that I have a really, it's not even, I guess, more so about other people. I have a really good support system as far as my friends. Um, there were definitely the select few that were there always helping me and lifting me up and helping me. And some of it even did start some of my assignments for me because they knew of like what I was going through and how close me and my mom are. I also think I found out I was stronger than I was to also be able to deal with all of that. Because for so long it's just been I love my dad and everything, but it's just been me and my mom for so long, just us together. And so I feel like if I were to lose her, I lost everything. Um, so a lot of people didn't necessarily realize the impact that had on me because of their own experience with their family and whatnot. But I learned that I could persevere. I learned that I could persevere. I learned that I could still be there because I put my mom's mental before my own at this a lot too, because a lot of the time say, my grandparents, they're amazing people, but they're also from a generation where they don't necessarily talk about how they feel emotionally. And say when my mom would cry because she was scared, they couldn't necessarily listen to that because that's not something they usually do. I was the person that allowed my mom to experience her emotions and cry, and someone that she could talk to. Um, so I learned that while I was also, fearing losing my mother and fearing, all this other stuff, I could also be there for her and put what I was going through to the side for her.
I mean, that's very commendable of you, and I'm so, so, so happy that your mother has recovered from that. I mean, like I said before, like I feel like you guys deserve an award, in addition to a degree, because just the mental trauma that even myself was experiencing, not being a college student, being out of school. We all of us, our mental health was challenged, especially last year, maybe a little bit still into this year, still recovering from it all. But I'm glad that you made it through,
Yeah.
and you're able to find out that you're stronger than you thought you were. So
Mhm.
that worked out. um, but as far as before, I guess before the pandemic, did you think that you were going to have to move back home, or did that kind of register more so in the midst of the pandemic?
Um, I guess I always knew I was gonna have to like move back home eventually. I always knew that. But I also didn't think about it a lot because I was away, sort of having fun with my friends, enjoying my own independence and, having a great time just, being a college student. And, like I said, I love my mother to death, but being back home has been a little stressful too. So yeah.
And
It
what?
did sink in. No, I was just saying it did sink in more to when I was about to actually graduate. I'm like, okay, I gotta go back home. I gotta go back home. Oh my gosh, I have to go back home.
So, speaking to that stress, like what? I guess because you say you love your mother, and we all love
Mhm.
our parents for being able to, bring us back into their home. But what are some stressors or just annoyances that you experience, moving back home after
Um,
graduating college?
mhm. Well, me and my mom are both Libras, so me and her, we kind of clash a lot. Me and we're just very similar people anyway. But I'm a lot more calmer than she is. She talks a whole lot. Um, that's just the kind of person she is, and she's a very passionate person, so she just yells a lot, and I like to be quiet. And we just disagree on a lot of things, and I think just being living apart for so long. Of course, I came home for summer breaks and just other breaks, but it was temporary. Um, me and her both realized that we make it work, but we might prefer not to live with each other anymore. Of course, I love being home and she likes having me here. And if I were to move out, which I plan to do hopefully one day soon, um, she's gonna definitely miss me and I'll miss her. But it's just she has a lot of mouth, but so do I here and there. Um, it's just we just clash about little things. We're both indecisive. She wants me to make a decision. I want her to make it. Um, it's just little crazy stuff.
As far as like moving, like comparison to being at home as a high school student, going away and coming back as a college student, do you see like challenges as far as like things when it comes to chores, like clean up your room or take out the trash, or you should be home by a certain time type of situation, or is your mom more like chill in that regard?
My mom has never been well, she's a chill person, but she's also never been chill. Like her field is in the criminal justice field, so she sees a lot, and so she's a worrier too. And so back in high school when I lived here, I was younger. She had more of a control. Um, but then, I went then, once I graduated high school and went away to college, I gained more independence and I matured, and I don't feel like I should be home by a certain time or tell her everywhere I go or this and that. But my mom, when she asks you something, she wants an answer. I don't feel like I should have to answer certain things, but it's definitely that. That's the main difference. It's more of her trying to let go and realize that I am an adult now, and I'm not. I'll always be her baby, but I'm not a baby anymore. Um, as far as chores and stuff like that, I feel like she's a very particular person. So if I do something, it's not going to be the way she likes anyway. So I recently just cleaned the whole kitchen, and I rearranged it. Um, she said thanks, but she had such an issue with how I did it. But I still did it. You should just be thankful. Um, but I feel like I do more of the cooking anyway, because not to say she can't cook, but I think I do it better. So it's more of a give and take thing, say she might do laundry, I'll cook the meal for that night or something like that. It just sort of switches off. But my independence and her having to let go of control has been an issue for her, I see, and I realize that more and more every day, because she's a person who needs to have control over everything, every little sort of situation, this and that. And I get that maybe her job has jaded her for that, because she works with she was a rehabilitation counselor and stuff like that. So she worked with addicts and stuff like that. So she had control over everything. And she tends to think she can do that with people in her personal life, and she cannot. So letting go is hard for her. And I try to, understand that. But at the same time, it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm grown.
Yes, I think that's the common narrative amongst college graduates that have to move back in with their parent or guardian. Because I mean, it's understandable because our parents, they stay in the same environment and we go off and have our own individual experience. So
Mhm.
they are in that same mindset when we come back, and we have a totally different mindset about who we are. So it's that friction there,
Mhm.
that we have to try and find peace on. But my next question is, thinking about yourself as a college freshman, like what advice would you give your college freshman self compared to, college senior graduate self?
Okay. Okay. I think I'm going to do it. And I'm going to give. I'm going to say some personal advice. I'm going to give some academic advice. Um, Personal advice: make sure you find that set of friends, because you'll need them more than you ever know. Um, if I didn't have like at least my two main ones, I don't think I would have made it. And I think they think the same if they didn't have me or our other friends. Um, I would also say don't don't necessarily think about love, because I had a heartbreak, and that was my first sort of like love experience, too, and it didn't end up working out in my favor, or it might have, but it didn't end up working out. But and that was extremely hard. So I would just say, focus on yourself and build up yourself, figure out who you are, and don't let people get to you. Never let people get to you. And as far as academic advice, I would say make sure you're on it 24/7. Um, I remember my freshman year was probably my worst year in college. Just getting to college, not knowing anything or someone, anybody, and not knowing the classes I'm taking and this and that, or my professors. Um, make sure you're on it. Study all the time. I didn't study as I should have freshman year, and everything reflected because of that. I bounced back because I wasn't going to let myself fall. Like once I saw the grades I got, I was like, oh no, we can't have this. I will be getting this degree. Um, you just got to make sure you're on it. Things are definitely more serious than you think.
And would that be the same or similar advice you would give, college freshmen in general?
Yes, yes. I think a lot of times people go into college thinking, okay, this is just like a bigger high school. It's not. It's not. It's definitely harder. Um, the teachers are not the same at all. You can have some really amazing professors, and you can also not have some great professors. Um, and depending on what class, the workload can be so much, and you have to balance having fun and your academics. And I put more fun over academics, and that's something you really can't do. So I would just say prioritize, have fun, enjoy, relax, but you also really need to prioritize your responsibilities.
Cheers to that because you can't be messing around freshman
Yeah,
year. I mean, have your fun, but that fun's not going to look so fun when you get
it's
into
not.
your junior year and you're failing.
Exactly.
So definitely need to start on a straight path right when you get on site.
Mhm.
Um, so what I know we kind of touched it in the beginning, but what factors can you say cater to you not being able to find work? Because you have college degree, so is it the economy? Is it the competition within the field that you're trying to get into? If you could speak to certain factors that are causing you challenge to find work.
I think what challenges me is definitely more of people having more experience than I do. Um, I think it's a little crazy that some of these entry level jobs require 3 years of experience when I was in college for like 4. So, um, and I also think, those who do land those jobs and who internships are really good experiences. I didn't have that because of the pandemic and everything. And so I definitely think, I guess that's the main challenge is the experience, because that's all I see when I see listings. We want this amount of experience. Degree is preferred, but not necessarily necessary. I'm like, what? Okay.
So, being a college graduate and seeing kind of how the job market is functioning, I don't know if it's due to the pandemic, but would you say that, high school seniors should still go to college or should they just kind of, take a break, work, at some job for
Mhm.
experience and then go to college? Or like, how do you feel as far as college being a necessity nowadays?
Honestly, honestly, I don't think it's a necessity. I think depending on what you want to do and what, skill you want to build, you can go to a college specifically for that skill, or you can just go to college just to get the experience. I think I would still recommend going to college. It's just I don't think a degree is worth what it used to be or what I was always told it was. And back then I can't fault, my mom or whoever telling me, oh, I should go to college and get my degree, because back then that's really what mattered. Um, so many people are making it nowadays without a degree and for their own, inventions or things, just they're amazing at. But I'm not saying a degree is worthless, but it just does not hold as much weight. So I don't think that people should stress college as much, because it could just be wasting money for you to be where you would have been after you graduated high school.
And do you think there are more resources available to you after graduation, with or without a degree? Like as far as getting an internship, like because you have availability now to
Mhm,
take ownership of these resources, like going to workshops or internships, whatever it might be,
mhm.
to building your field. So do you think that maybe if if colleges allowed, I guess, more leeway to get your degree and build experience, it'd be easier for you to find a job?
I do think there should have been more resources that they provided or helped out with for their students to gain that experience. And even though I don't necessarily have the experience, I still think, on my resume it looks good that I have the degree. It shows I have some type of training in this field, and I know a lot about it, but I just still don't think if you haven't done anything professionally, then we're not really looking for you. Um, but I do think some companies and maybe some people still find the degree okay. He has a degree, maybe we'll check him out. And I guess even though I don't have professional experience, I do. I think I try to in my resume try to fudge things to things I've done in school that I think that can still count as experience. Maybe not professional, but I do have the training, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. So basically, there probably shouldn't be a stigma on graduates, not having the experience, but they have the training. So you should give graduates a chance
yes.
anyway.
Definitely.
And I know we discussed, because you said your major is communications, right?
Yes, I got my bachelor's in communication. I also have a certificate in theater performance.
Right. So I was going to get into theater performance because we know that, actors don't necessarily have like a black and white career path. Like you're going to graduate, or some actors don't even go to college that aspire to be in that field. So can you speak to, I guess, choosing to go down that path, and also the challenges of, getting work as a theater performer or actor?
Okay, I've always wrestled with the thought of like, should I even be here at school if I really like want to be an actor? Because I know a lot of them didn't go to school or get any like type of school training for it. They just went on audition. So I thought, maybe am I wasting my time here when I could just be an audition after audition after audition? But I don't regret the path I went on, because I do think some of the people and the professors I worked with helped me build my craft and my skill more, like some of the acting classes that I took in theater classes. And I think even though maybe I don't have enough or a lot of professional experience as an actor, I do think the certification in theater performance looks really well on my acting resume, because it does show that there's some training in that field. And I feel like the difference between my communications degree and my theater certificate is, I guess most normal jobs, they want the experience. And then say for more creative things like acting and stuff, they want training and maybe certifications. And that's just my personal what I think. So it's a double-edged sword. Like I'm glad I got my both my degree and my certificate. And I think the certificate might take me further than my degree.
That's a good point. So what is your ultimate dream and goal with theater performance?
My ultimate dream is to actually be a film actor and win an Oscar one day. Hopefully that'll happen. Think about that all the time. Um, yeah, I want to. I also want to like personally when I look at movies and shows and witness these amazing performances, it touches me in a way that I want to give to others what these actors are giving to me, someone that they can relate to, something that's beautiful, something that's touching, something that's inspiring. And I just want to do that for others.
And what did your university offer training within theater performance, or did they give you any type of resources at the time, like as far as internships or workshops? But is that the internship you couldn't take because of the pandemic?
Oh no, the internship I couldn't take because of the pandemic was sort of the Atlanta Film Festival actually, but with theater performance, all that, they had certain professionals come in and like hold workshops, and they would have like sort of events where on campus events where students would come that's they don't have to necessarily be in that field or major, but they can come and experience the workshop. So yeah, they had some pretty good workshops for us.
And what do you enjoy about acting? I know you said you like the formation with actors feeding off of actors, but what is it about being an actor that drives you to make that your lifelong dream?
I love how, even as, say, I've always said, once I am the character, Tran Keller doesn't exist or Tran doesn't exist. Um, so I also learn things about myself when I portray these other characters. And I learned that I can pull from so deep, from places that I didn't even know I had, and evoke that emotion. And as I was saying earlier, how I've been inspired by Viola Davis, how she's one of my favorite actresses, and Chadwick Boseman. Their performances are just so beautiful. Um, I just want to do that. Like I said before, I just want to do that for other people. I want to show, I guess, people who might, little children actually, who can see themselves on screen, because it's, specifically being a Black actor, it's sort of hard for Black actors, newcomers, to get noticed and get recognition. And I want to sort of defy that. I want to show people that you can do it, because they show me that I can do it. So I want to follow in their footsteps, and also show people who are younger than I am, or even older than I am, that you shouldn't necessarily give up, because if you work hard and if you work towards it enough, it can happen.
And I know I'm probably opening like a plethora of answers right now, of discussion, but would you say that the film industry is moving in the right direction as far as when it comes to diversity, not just on screen, but behind the scenes as well?
Well, that is a really, yeah, that does a whole lot. I would definitely say on screen, it is moving in a better direction. There are still some things that need to, be rectified and worked out. Like, a good example is, I'm so excited to see. I haven't seen it yet, but Shang-Chi, from Marvel. I think it's what, the first Asian-led superhero like film, and it's doing amazing at the box office. And it's just always important for people to see themselves on screen, because so many people doubt themselves because of what they look like, and how they've been treated over years because of their race or ethnicity. And even, seeing more Black actors, and everything, and then particularly dark skinned actors, because so long in Hollywood, colorism has always been an issue. They usually cast the lightest skinned person for the Black role, and you never saw dark skinned people in, amazing lead roles. And now that's sort of happening, especially that's happening in Marvel with everybody in Black Panther. That movie was beautiful, and it had a predominantly Black cast, and you saw people of all shades, but they also emphasized um, dark skinned women in particular, because they never get the shine that they deserve. So I think it's moving in the right direction as far as on screen, and as far as behind the scenes, it could use some work still. It could definitely use some work. I know Issa Rae is a beast. She is. Now I'm glad, there are some people who are breaking those barriers, like her, and I think her name is Shanaka Hodge. She is now the writer for Marvel's Riri Williams, that show. So, and a lot of the stuff I do see that's happening that's amazing is from Marvel. So they have everything right, or they're getting it right. Um, but I definitely think there should be more people of color behind the scenes. Because I don't know if you saw Mulan.
The live
Um,
action?
yeah, but I didn't like that. A lot of people didn't like the movie. And Mulan was she's my favorite Disney princess, and I was very upset that that movie was terrible. But they didn't have people behind the scenes that were of that, ethnicity or race. And so I think that's one of the main factors why that movie wasn't perceived well, because you can't have, writers who don't share that experience or don't know anything about that experience, in my opinion. there needs to be someone there that knows or has experienced it.
All right, definitely. And as you know, I have my hand in the behind the scenes. I work in the film industry. I won't note the company, but I definitely agree with Marvel going in the right direction. Um, but we definitely need more diversity in leadership for sure.
Yes.
Um, even like when I walk around on set on the production crews, I still see majority of one race, and there should be a plethora of diversity of races on a set. So that still needs to be worked on too, like to the lower level to the very top. At this point, with everything that we've gone through and seen in the industry, there's really no excuse at this point. So there definitely needs to be more leadership and studio executives that are of people of color and diversity to give different perspectives, different
Yeah.
voices in life for sure.
Mhm.
But speaking to, you still pursuing your dream of becoming an actor after all that you've been through
Mhm.
with your college career and everything you experienced with COVID and your family and still having that drive basically to pursue what you want to do. Um, what would you tell the graduates that have, a similar dream, maybe not the same dream, but still have a dream to, and they probably are kind of down and out about it. They're not sure if they should still pursue it. They don't know if it's their purpose. What advice, if any, could you give them if they don't know if this dream is for them or if they should still pursue it or not?
That is so funny that you asked that because, I get down and out about it a lot too, but I also still try to keep that fire burning. Um, I just asked myself maybe a few days ago, I said, is this even still for me? Um, but then I get reminded when I see such an amazing performance that you need to keep working at that. That's what I want to do. So my advice is just to, though you may get down, though you may feel like nothing is working out, things are actually working out in the perfect timing. You just don't necessarily realize that right now. Always think back to what sparked that interest in that fire in the first place, and you'll be reminded of why you want to do what you want to do. It's all about keeping that fire burning and never forgetting that spark that made you want to do or pursue that dream, because a lot of times that's all someone has is that spark, and if they don't let it die out, they see their dreams come to fruition, and people should just keep working towards that. And they should also expect them being down sometimes and just embrace that feeling, allow yourself to feel that emotion, but don't revel in it too long. Just get through it, power through it, and keep that spark alive.
And do you have any last comments just about for students or graduates in general, just trying to figure it out in the environment they're in with getting through COVID and
Yes. Uh,
this?
yes. um I would say do not expect everything to be, rainbow and sunshine. I think, and of course, sometimes, our parents might feed us that because, they want the best for their kids and stuff like that. But I feel like I've always, at least recent years, I've always been more of a realist. Um, Tried to see the more practical side of things. As before, I used to be, and I still am an optimist. But if you just realize things for what they are, it, you won't be as disappointed. I feel like, and I feel like before I used to expect so much, and it was so sad when things didn't work out in that way. Um, and I also, and just in general for college students, keep going. Do not give up. Expect highs, expect lows, and find your friends. Stay true to yourself. That's one of the main things. You always have to stay true to yourself, even if you're finding yourself. Embrace it. If you're scared, I'm not sure if it's too TMI, but freshman year I acknowledged my sexuality. I came out as bi because that was something I was in the closet for so long. And not being who you are is terrible. It makes you feel awful. And once you really accept yourself and love yourself for who you are, everything is so much better and easier.
Right. Well, I think that's great advice to follow. Um, and we'll end on that. So end right here.